Articulation Radio. Articulation. Articulation. Salutations! Welcome to another exciting episode of Articulation Radio. I am your hostess, the eternally grateful Goddess Sage. You know how we do things here at Articulation Radio. We will kick off the top of the day's episode by taking a quick glance at the news headlines. And today's news segment is sponsored by bepublished.org.
Here are three of the news headlines and events I saw today, Thursday, November 12, 2020, when visiting EliteValuesNews.com. The 22nd Annual Global MillSatcom Conference and Exhibition for Satellite Professionals takes place this year online today via globalmillsatcom.com. MLK Visiting Scholar Luncheon with Thomas C. Ehrlich, Ph.D., takes place virtually today starting at noon via mit.edu. And today is World Usability Day. Today and every day, be sure that you optimize technology and work better with people to make life better for humans all around the world. Those are three of the news headlines and events I saw today when visiting EliteValuesNews.com on your behalf. Be sure to check them out every hour on the hour because so much happens in this world, and the staff here at Elite Values News make sure that we keep you apprised of as much as possible. Be sure to check us out right now. I am Joaquin Mann reporting live.
Looking to get the latest news? Visit Elite Values. EliteValuesNews.com has all the latest news and information. Check out the headlines daily. EliteValuesNews.com for all of your latest news.
Do you want to be published? Are you looking for a high-quality, low-cost way to be published with a fast turnaround? Visit bepublished.org to publish today. www.bepublished.org. bepublished.org. Publish today. Books, movies, and music.
Listeners, we love you, we hear you, and I am definitely happy to be here with you again today on this episode of Articulation Radio, where you will not only hear wonderful music from independent artists from around the world, you will also get the chance to hear me talk to a move maker, a doer, and I'm not going to tell you with whom I'll be speaking or about what we'll be discussing, but stay tuned.
Forever ARTistReview.com. All artists need a platform. The Artist Review makes sure you have the one you need to put your work in front of your fans. ARTistReview.com. Artist, REVUE.com.
I don't want nobody always sitting around me and my man. I don't want nobody always sitting right there looking at me and that man. Be it my mother, my brother, or my sister. Would you believe I'd get up, put on some clothes, I'd go out and help them find somebody for themselves if I can. Yes, I will. Now I don't mind company, because company's all right with me every once in a while. Yes, it is. I tell you, I don't mind company, no, because company's all right with me every once in a while. Yeah. But oh, when me and that man get to love, I tell you girls, I dig you, but I just don't have time, no, to sit and chit and sit and chit chat and smile. So don't send me no doctor filling me up with all of those pills. Got me a man named Dr. Feelgood. And oh, yeah, that man takes care of all of my pains and my ills. His name is Dr. Feelgood in the morning time. Yeah. And taking care of business is really this man's game. And after one visit to Dr. Feelgood, you will understand why Feelgood is his name. Oh, yeah. Oh, good God Almighty, the man sure makes me feel real good. Oh.
You have a product, let them help you increase sales. You have a video, let them help you make it go viral. Peoplewarmers.com. PeopleWarmers.com.
We kicked off today's episode of Articulation Radio with Good Times Are Coming by L.M. Styles. And after that, you heard Love is a Serious Business, that Dr. Feelgood cover by yours truly, Goddess Sage. Now, today's episode of Articulation Radio is titled Bringing Your A Game. And so I'm going to drop you a few nuggets real quick, but I want you to head on over to agamesuccess.com real quick, because we will be interviewing the Hall of Famer, the legendary coach Rolando Lamb, and I will get information for you about his book, his motivational speaking, ways that he can help other people overcome depression, as well as help you and how he's helped himself. And we will also talk to him about these basketball camps and workshops and conferences that he has going on, so that way you or your kids, your loved ones, anyone you know who's interested in any of these things or can benefit from any of this wealth of information that he's passing on through these various means, you all will be able to take advantage of it. But head on over right now to agamesuccess.com, and I am going to play for you Call Me by Most Stacks real quick before I bring on that interview with Coach Lamb. But people, I want you to know you need to always make sure that no matter what it is that you're doing, you always bring your A game. You make it a point to put your best foot forward at all times. Do whatever needs to be done immediately when it needs to be done, utilizing all resources you have to the best of their abilities and making it a point to put your best foot forward. Do everything as correctly as human possible your first time around. There's no guarantee that you're going to get a second chance. And if you do a great enough job the first time around, even if things don't go right, that will increase the likelihood of your getting a second chance if that's ever something that you seek or would require. But people, first, you got to make it a point to always bring your A game. Always be your best, not only for yourself, but also for anyone that you're engaging with and for anything that you're trying to do. Because after all, the whole point of doing whatever is to receive the result you want. And surely, if you know that you're not even doing what's required, how can you logically expect to get what's desired? So people, always bring your A game, okay? So now let me go ahead and roll that song for you and then bring on that interview with Coach Lamb. Hang tight.
You are listening to Articulation Radio. Head on over to articulationmedia.club and let us know your thoughts.
Do you frequently shop online and you're looking for a new place to shop? Join the club, JeffersonTaylor.club, where models, designers, inventors, and other creators offer customers the best products at fair prices. Jefferson Taylor, JeffersonTaylor.club. Join the club. Shop today, JeffersonTaylor.club.
Articulation Radio is extremely honored to have on the line with us today. We have the coach, Mr. Rolando Lamb. Coach Lamb, do we have you on this line?
Yes, you have me, and I'm excited to be on the line.
Yes, same here. Now, people, for those of you who have been asleep, been under a rock, just been caught by the fog, baby, let me fill you in. First of all, you want to go over to agamesuccess.com, and that way you'll be able to see that the things I'm about to tell you are really real, okay? I'm not just blowing smoke up your skirt or, in your face, none of that stuff, okay? agamesuccess.com, because Coach Rolando Lamb is the man. If you are anyone who loves sports, you're someone who especially hates the fact that you end up hearing a bunch of bad news about your favorite sports players or your favorite athletes who don't seem to manage all of that great money well that you see that they've gotten, or people who are just making bad life choices, people who seem to be able to play that game, that sports game, but that life game they're not really winning at. Well, this is the man that you want to be sure to mention the name to those athletes of yours? Because Coach Rolando Lamb makes sure that not only are the athletes armed with what they need to be sure to win on and off the court, but that's also their coaches are armed with everything that they need to be sure that they're winners in life and in sports, and they can pass on that tacit knowledge to others. Now, again, that website, agamesuccess.com. Now, let's dive on in. Coach Lamb, I have a quick question for you. Now, first of all, tell us today how you are doing on this nice, crisp autumn day.
Oh, man, I'm doing so great. You know, anytime we can wake up and experience a great day, a beautiful day, we're doing great. So I have a lot to be thankful for. And hey, I'm on the phone line with you. I'm on your podcast, so I can't be doing any better.
No, see, and I'm the one who, yes, you have me like already on cloud 22. I mean, people, here is a gentleman who not only is a motivational speaker, as you know, he himself, he's just not someone who talks the talk and just has connects. No, he is a person who has, as a kid, made it a point to be committed to his studies as well as to be committed to his own development. He, in high school, was actually an All-American basketball player. He even went to college on a full scholarship, people. He went to Virginia Commonwealth University, and while he was at VCU, he became a Hall of Famer. He became an NBA draft pick. He even went on and played in the CBA, which is, of course, now called the G League. But, of course, as you know now, his whole thing is making sure that he earns that title that people have given him, those accolades of being America's number one character coach, because he makes sure he's an NBA father as well. He has a son who's currently playing in the league. And so, of course, he wants to be sure that everyone is armed with what they need to be sure that they need for success. And so, Coach, my first question for you regarding that is, what is there that really motivates, and I would imagine maybe it was your son and you wanted to, but I want you to tell us all, what is there, what need did you see that inspired you to get involved in the way that you've committed yourself to be involved with developing these young men and other adults as well?
Sure, and that's a great question. And to be honest with you, I got to go back to the very foundation, you see, because I grew up without my father. My mother raised 5 kids by herself, 4 boys and a girl. My grandmother, listen to this, my grandmother had 17 kids, 5 sets of twins. So you see, I come from a huge family. Yeah, I knew that would stop you.
Oh, baby, that hurt. That hurt me.
Yeah, 17 kids, 5 sets of twins. So I come from a huge family. So unfortunately, most of the people I grew up with, they either dead, in jail, or on drugs. And so I had to learn how to win at an early age. And I learned that from my mother. And so she was teaching me how to win even back then. Of course, I didn't call it the A game back then. However, she stressed 3 principles, 3 core principles that makes up the A game now, which was attitude, academics, and ability. And so throughout my high school and college career and those things, I was just learning some things, and life got tough. But she was there along with my coaches to help push me through, because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of times I wanted to quit, but they wouldn't let me quit, you see. And so we kept moving forward. And and this is what happened to me. When I was drafted into the NBA, I ended up not making the team. I got cut, and I went into a state of depression. And I was like, man, who am I? I asked myself 2 questions. Who am I, and what can I do? And I was just lost. I didn't know what to do. But I realized from that point that if I was struggling and in depression, then how many more athletes and coaches suffer from stuff like that? Because a lot of athletes, they get their value and they get their identity from what they do, not who they are. So that is what launched me into working with athletes and coaches.
Wow, and that is a definite need, and truly I'm glad that you stepped up to the plate, because that's a big job.
That's a big job. And a lot of people will honestly just be like, you know what, well, all I can do is just tell them, I can't have it to where I'm going around and trying to get people to, you know, be able to get the focus and pull themselves out, especially when people look at the reality of things like depression, because they know that that means when you use terms like that, that means, no, this person isn't just sad, and that you're not just going to be there to just say this one thing and be gone, or to just give them one thing and be gone. That, no, you're willing to work with them and put in the hard labor over time to be sure that they are able to pull themselves out by being able to help them change their mindsets and apply the new habits. And that's a lot of work. And I applaud you for even being willing to do it. And I truly understand what you mean when you say that it was first by seeing that need up close and experiencing it. And yeah, it's like, how can you not address it when you know that you are armed to be able to do it? And so let me ask you, have you, as far as that whole being willing to sacrifice and give up yourself, because we know that, yes, you've pulled yourself out, but were you able to, some of the strategies that you used to pull yourself out, were you able to immediately implement those with helping other people, or did you have to come up with other ways to help other people and then weave in some of the ways? Tell us about how you got started, because I'm sure it was difficult for you. Well, yes, something that you wanted to do from your heart, but it wasn't easy. Tell us about some of the things that you had to do to even get started on your new path of helping others in this new way you do.
Sure. I mean, absolutely. And just to piggyback on what you're saying, anything worthwhile, hey, it's not going to be easy, but it's worth. So I encourage people, when you have a purpose, when you have a vision or a goal, hey, you go for it. Don't quit. Winners never quit. So keep pressing forward. But to answer your question, here's the deal. I was in a situation where, because and it was kind of easy, but it wasn't. Let me explain it to you this way. People love athletes, and they look up to athletes. And so being a Hall of Fame basketball player and being well-known in the city of Richmond, Virginia, I mean, that's where we started. We started working with athletes. We started working with coaches. And so the students and the athletes, they were excited about me coming to the school, willing to work with them. So it gave us a platform, and we had a captive audience, if you will. And these kids was hanging on every word. And from there, we started developing training programs that would help these kids develop right habits, right mindsets, and ultimately develop a winning lifestyle. And so that's actually how we got going.
Wow. And it's all about that, character development, I see, for you, because people, and again, for those of you who have just tuned in, you're listening to Articulation Radio. My name is Goddess Sage, and I am interviewing the illustrious Coach Rolando Lamb. And, of course, he is the owner of A-Game Elite International, and he goes through and he does motivational speaking. His website is agamesuccess.com, because not only does he do motivational speaking, but he literally does character development as well. He's considered America's #1 character coach, and he's an NBA father. He's as well is a Hall of Famer and is a former professional player himself. So, of course, he's someone who is not just talking the talk now. He has walked the walk. And just like he was able to help make his life the best it can be, he's making it a point to go around and help other people do the same for themselves. And now let's talk a little bit about the A-Game Elite Success System that you offer there through A-Game Elite International. And now, people, again, that website, agamesuccess.com. For people who are, say, for instance, they're like, well, my son isn't in the NBA. My kid is just in junior high or high school, and, or even my kid isn't even an athlete, but I think that they can benefit, or he can benefit from just having a mentor like you. What steps, is it good for people to reach out to you at your Instagram? I see his Instagram
facebook.com/CoachLam20. And, of course, they do have that website, AGameSuccess.com. But do you also assist people who are not athletes?
Absolutely. That's why, I used to call it the 3 A's used to stand for attitude, academic, and athletics. But I changed it to attitude, academic, and ability. Because let me just share this with you. Every person has a special ability from God to make a difference in the world. And so
Yes.
even young people or even young adults who don't even play sports, they can still benefit from the A-Game elite training system because we're dealing with mindsets. And you mentioned that earlier. We're dealing with mindsets. Change the way you think, you'll change your life. And if you change your life, you'll change your world. But it all starts in our minds. So we have strategies and we have certain formulas where we teach these people on how to develop the right mentality. And it starts with the way they think, and also the words that they speak, the story that they tell themselves. You'll be surprised how people defeat themselves with just talking themselves out of being great and doing their best, telling themselves.
Say that, Coach.
Like, I know, to tell themselves, I can't do this, or why I'm so dumb. I mean, just negativity. And what we're saying is we're Xing all that stuff out, and we're saying bring your A game. The whole concept behind A game is this: striving for greatness by giving God your best. That's the mindset. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
If they adopt that mindset, I'm talking about every day. Which here's the deal: winners do what losers do occasionally. And so we're telling people now, you have to understand that the habits that you're developing now actually is creating your future. So I tell you something, you got me excited on this podcast.
Well, you have an exciting thing that you're doing. I mean, you're someone who just utilizing your A-Game Elite Success System, you've trained countless athletes and individuals. People have received thousands of dollars. People have received college scholarships. I mean, a lot of people have been helped by you. And I'm thankful, number one, that you followed your calling, because a lot of people, especially with getting out in front of people, talking and going around talking. And I'm sure that there are a lot of athletes who have messages that they've been given, and not just athletes, but a lot of people who are used to doing things and not having to say anything, that when things are given to them to say, they're not as comfortable because they're not used to having to say those things. And I think that it's very courageous that you not only immediately accepted that charge for your life, but also went ahead and stepped on out and just hit the ground running with it. And because of the fact that you've done that, you've been able to impart so much into the lives of so many people whom you would not have ever met or who would not have even had the chance to meet you had you not stepped out on faith. And you've achieved so much. You've even, he's even, for some of you who may be like, wait a minute, I think I know him. Was he the coach at Carver? Yeah, this is the same gentleman who coached at Georgia's Carver College for several years, and of course led them to their appearance in the Nationals. So people, please do not, I know I tell you all this frequently, but don't be a forgetful listener. Make it a point to apply the knowledge you receive. Take action, because here's someone who his whole mantra is making sure that people not only understand that a winning attitude is everything, but he does what he can to be sure to impart it into you. He even has it to where he's challenged Fortune 500 leaders, some of everybody, and people have accepted that challenge. So this is a part of a whole movement. So people, why don't you go ahead and join that too? Because, of course, you have the gentleman right here, Coach Rolando Lamb, who's going to be sure to put you on to every bit he can for his A-Game Elite International offerings and the success system, the coaching, the motivational speaking, the one-on-one coaching classes. They even do workshops. I mean, you name it, they have it available for you. And, of course, and again, that website, people, agamesuccess.com. agamesuccess.com. Coach Lamb, because I know that there are some that are like, okay, Mary, we know we're down. Goddess, we definitely wish that you would go ahead and
ask him, the real meat, or, hey, Articulation Radio, we need to know how we can go ahead and get him over at our place and get him by to come and do some things for us. So let the people know, for those who are like, we need to get some of this training. We need to be sure to take part in this. Where is the best way for them to reach out to you? Is it indeed through the againsuccess.com, or is it better for them to first just go ahead and check you out on Instagram at CoachLam20? What really is the best way for them to see how they can start benefiting right now from all of your great wisdom and outreach?
Thank you so much. They can go to my website, like you've been saying, againsuccess.com, or they can check out the Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. I mean, all the information is up there. So social media is hot. That's how they get in touch with me. Or, you see, because, again, I just want to underscore something. When I talk about academics, some people think I'm just talking about making good grades. See, I'm not talking about making good grades. I'm talking about academics as being mentally tough to overcome anything that tries to prevent you from doing what's right and fulfilling your purpose. The key word in that is this: mental toughness. I tell you something, it's so many weak-minded people in the world today, and if they would decide to realize the greatness that's on the inside of them, they can rise above the challenges.
Yes.
So when someone hear academics, I don't want them just to think I'm dealing with students. No, I'm dealing with parents. I'm dealing with business owners, entrepreneurs. I'm dealing with people who's faced with real life issues, but they have the strength on the inside of them to overcome anything they face. That's academic. That's being mentally tough. But they can get in touch with me with those ways I just said. Website, againsuccess.com, Instagram, Facebook. They can get me just like that.
And people, too, now, and he also has a way for those of you that are like, look, I know I need this info. I know my child needs this info. I know my man needs this info. I know my woman can benefit from this info. But you're like, hey, I already feel like I cannot afford this. I cannot, but I hate that I'm going to have to, but I just know I can't afford it. But I got something for y'all. Don't be so quick to deny yourself something good, because there's always an option. It's more than one way to peel fruit, right? So do know that Coach Lam, oh, y'all, and I'm doing a little Dr. Evil thing with my little pinky finger on the side of my lip. Coach Lam is an author, too. Coach Lam has a book out, people. So that's another option for you, because, of course, you can have it to where you have his words right on the tips of your fingers. Coach Lam, tell them about your book.
I got a couple of books, but one of the books I've written is an action book, How to Bring Your A Game, and we break it down. we go over the areas, the three core components of the A game, which is a winning attitude, academic success, and then ability. You see, because you put those three things together, I'm gonna tell you something. You become a force in the world for good, greater good. And then I got another book, Developing a Winning Attitude. That was the first book I wrote, and it was a tremendous book, but it's really the core message of everything I talk about, a winning attitude. Listen, what is a winning attitude? Here it is right here. A winning attitude is having a desire that the Creator is going to do something great in your life. You may not know how, you may not know when it's going to happen, but guess what? If you have the desire, we have the system to help take your life to the next level. It starts with a winning attitude. You don't have to start off winning, but you do have to start off with a winning attitude. That will make the difference.
Yes, I agree. And are both those books also available on againsuccess.com?
They are, but guess what? I'm all out. I mean, people have been buying them.
Yay! So people, that lets you all know you need to be sure to go in Get on that wait list for some back copies, whatever. You got to reach out because people, you see, you snooze, you lose, especially stuff good. So you got to be sure that you are among the first people to get some printed copies when you get some more copies. So be sure to head over to agamesuccess.com right now. Set yourself up. But in the meantime, instead of waiting for those books, sign up for some courses. Get in wherever you can fit in. Get some of this because you know you want some. He has plenty to offer. And as a matter of fact, Coach Lamb, what is there that if nothing else that you want to be sure that the listeners understand, what is there that you haven't had a chance to express that you would like to be sure to share with the listeners right now?
The one thing I would say to them is this, that when you realize, when you look around of what's going on in this world, there are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of issues, but the question people got to ask themselves is this: why am I here? See, that's a foundational question that each person needs to ask themselves. And you may not know, and that's okay, okay? That's okay. But if you start asking yourself that question enough, guess what? You're going to get the answer. And the last thing I said with this is, if you figured out your purpose, then figure out your gift, because your gift will lead you to your purpose. And I like to say it this way. Your gift is your transportation that will lead you to your destination.
Yes. Yes, I totally agree. And and people, and so that you know too, I don't think that I mentioned already that Coach Rolando Lamb is also a pastor as well. So do know that everything, just like you can tell that what he's saying is sincere and it's coming from his heart, I'm sure that when you get his books, you'll be able to get even more of those nuggets, and you'll be able to get some true things that will minister even more to your spirit. And now, Coach, let me ask you. Now, for people who are like, okay, I need to know prices. I want to know prices. And for those who are like, you know what, I know that they're saying it's all about the mindset, the outlook, being positive. Don't be, down speaking on yourself and all of that. But they already are. Some are already like, okay, they still haven't said. What would you say to those people who can't seem to move forward because they're so busy focused on whatever it is that they're allowing to hold themselves back, whether it's finances, whether it's fear, whatever it is? What would you say to kind of help them move forward courageously?
This is what I would say to them, because I believe sometimes people approach things with the wrong mindset. This is what I mean. When you look at the cost, people look at the cost instead of looking at, is it worth it? That's what you got to ask yourself. They look at the cost and they say, oh, I can't afford this, or I can't do this. It's going to be too much. It's going to be too hard. Well, that's another way of how a person sabotages their own success. When you look at the worth and you ask yourself the question, is it worth it? You see, Dr. Martin Luther King made the statement, this famous quote. He said, if you don't have something to die for, you have nothing to live for. And I'm saying to people now, you got to start looking at, is it worth it? You see, because if it's worth it, then you'll find a way to make a cost for it. You'll find a way to make it happen. See, champions and winners find a way. They don't just sit back. I mean, when you look at these great athletes or these entertainers or these business people, I mean, in their darkest moments, they found a way. So I want to encourage people, don't focus on the cost. Focus on the worth. Is it worth it? And it gives you the motivational driving force that you need to succeed and win in life.
Yes. And I'm going to drop this little slap in y'all face because, he's giving it to y'all from that love and mercy, but I'm going to give y'all that love and wrath, because at the end of the day, if you think it costs too much to invest in your dreams and bettering your life, baby, you living cheap. Your life ain't worth nothing. And so with that, I do thank you so much,
Coach Rolando Lamb, people, y'all need to reach out to him because you know your life is worth everything. You are all of that, a bag of chips, a big gulp, and a pack of Skittles. You know, baby, you are everything anybody can desire. Baby, you that homemade pesto sauce. You all of the good stuff, the best things, whatever anybody deems is good and best, that's you. Because we all have to remember, we all are wonderfully made. You know, no matter how much, yes, we're flawed, even our flaws are great, right? You know, so you know, make sure that you love yourself enough to invest in yourself. And part of investing in yourself is making sure that you are the best version of yourself that you can be. And sometimes that means going through and totally changing the way we think about things. Sometimes it means totally changing the way we address things. Other times it means changing the way we fail to properly do what we need to do in order to get something to where it needs to be. Even if it means, hey, going without that particular vacation, or maybe having it to where that week you don't eat out because you decide that, no, you want to go ahead. But no, only you know what's most important to you. Because like one of my aunts used to always say when I was a kid, you know, a man's money will follow his heart. You know, and the same is true for a woman, you know. So if it's something you really care about, you're not going to have a problem spending money on it, you know. So for those of you who are like, oh, I can't do this, I want to do this and that, but I can't because of funds, there's plenty of other stuff that you're doing. Right. Even when you say you don't have the money, but you're spending money for that, so it must be you just don't want to. So quit blowing smoke up your own skirt or in your own face, okay? Keep it real with yourself. And if you say you want success, make sure that instead of playing games, you always bring your A game. How about that? Go to agamesuccess.com. Check out Coach Rolando Lamb. Coach Lamb, anything you want to say to them as your final word?
Hey, that's it. I just want to say winners do daily what losers do occasionally. Dream big, set goals, and go for it.
Yes, I love that. Listeners of Articulation Radio, stay tuned. Here comes some more fun. Articulation Radio, thanks you so much for listening. So head on over right now to articulationmedia.club and let us know your thoughts on today's episode. In the meantime, we're going to keep the show rolling for you.
Weddings are expensive, but your love is worth it. Go to marryusnow.us to book the Minister of Love to officiate your wedding today. The fee is only $200 if your wedding is in the city of Chicago, and there's only a small fee to get the Minister of Love to travel outside of Chicago to your wedding location. Book the Minister of Love today. Visit marryusnow.us. That's marryusnow.us.
The staff at Articulation Radio appreciates you so much for tuning in today, and I, Goddess Sage, especially appreciates you for tuning in. Be sure to, in the meantime, before you catch us on our next episode of Articulation Radio, do the things that you need to do to move forward with the things that you want to move forward on. No more excuses, okay? Keep being a doer, keep being a move maker, and keep being exemplary.
Articulation. 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 Articulation.